Yeah, this is the C-Town Rivals podcast where each and every week.
Sorry.
No problem.
I'm way off center with you. Okay.
3, 2, 1. Yeah, this is the C-Town Rivals podcast where each and every week we come at you on a multitude of platforms, and we've been doing it for 12 years. And wow, hard to believe, time flies. He's Ralph Amsden. Yes, you know who Ralph Amsden is. By now, you know who Brett Quintyne is. And just great that we are wrapping up the fall football season. And yes, the Hamilton Huskies, girls champions. Hamilton Huskies, they took it on the chin. We'll talk about that game in a bit. But before high school football wraps up, we wanted to talk a little bit about some college football. We've got opposite teams and a slight chance they may meet in round one.
That would be so unbelievable. I don't know if there's a history of Penn State and Arizona State playing against each other. I do know that there is a link. Do you know somebody who grew up a big Penn State fan and works for ASU? Tim Healy.
Is that right?
Tim Healy,
Is that
big,
right? Oh, wow.
big Penn State fan.
I did not realize that. Okay.
Yeah, and has been
That's...
calling ASU games for decades. So
wow.
that'll be a very interesting situation for him, for sure.
Wow, and the one thing I'll also add is even if they were to play each other in round one, well, who knows? It could happen in the Fiesta Bowl. Could, if certain things break, but if they played in round one, the game would be in State College. But Penn State is 7-0 lifetime in the state of Arizona. Don't think you knew that.
I did get to cover the Saquon Barkley
Yes.
game against our guy Byron Murphy.
Yes.
Daniel Bridge-Gadd was a backup quarterback on that Washington team, and I thought Washington had a chance, but
They did. That was a good one.
That was a great running back. And what would be really interesting if Arizona State and Penn State met is that Cam Scadaboo is 2 rushing yards away from being the first Power 4 running back to have 1,400 yards receiving, 400 yards rushing, since Saquon Barkley did it in 2014.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of talent on the field at the collegiate level. A lot of talent on the field at the high school level, and we are going to start off with the Hamilton Huskies, and they fall in the open semifinals by a score of 56-24 to the Liberty Lions, and props to the Liberty Lions. I mean, they are the defending state champions. They won the Open a year ago. For the Hamilton Huskies, Ralph, they gave it their all. They're starting to get to new heights. I think it's great.
Yes, and I mean, what we're noticing is that some of the best players in the state are electing to stay at Hamilton, are electing to play at Hamilton. Roy Oliver is a very, very special wide receiver.
We nicknamed him your guy, and you've got him for 3 more seasons.
Well, you about to have one too, because he's got a younger brother who I've heard is just as good as him, and is going to be a freshman at Hamilton next year. And so I think the future is very, very bright for Hamilton. Very proud of the job that they've done coaching there. And it's no slight against Zadebski or Banishevsky or anybody who has coached there. This is a high school that seems to be destined for greatness. It's all, how can you harness the talent that you're given? I think they did a good job this year. Liberty, not to make a Chandler pun, but they are the big bad wolf right now. I even talked to a couple of people who were affiliated with Liberty, and they said Hamilton gave us that really hard game in the Open last year. They work the edges, they throw well, they might win this game. And no, it wasn't even close. And so, Liberty's the one that we're all chasing right now. And the nice thing about being in the Chandler School District, covering the Chandler School District, is there's a lot of people every year who are, they were the Liberty.
Yes,
and so,
that's right.
And then they get their opportunity to take their shot.
The Huskies are the only team to have made the Open all 6 years. Here's the thing. They have a record of 5-6 in those games. Only one of those teams is actually against a 6A team. It's hard to believe.
Oh, wow.
They beat Corona del Sol in their, I believe it was the 2020 March to the championship, but all of their wins in the Open have come against 5A teams. They defeated Marana earlier this year, knocking off ALA Queen Creek once, or was it twice? I think it was just the one time they beat them. Centennial was 5A at the time when they got a win over them. So that's kind of what we're looking for perhaps next year. And you can't control who you play. If your open schedule dictates you play 5A teams or however it is, that's fine. But it's ironic that, yes, as successful as the Hamilton Huskies have been, they have only one win against 6A teams, and that's not anyone's fault. That's just the way that things have happened. But we'll round out the Huskies by saying, Travis Dixon, so much for allowing us into your program. We thank you very much, and he's taking them to new heights.
Yeah, and welcome back. His last 3 years affiliated with Hamilton High School, championship win, open appearance. So it's good to have him back around, and it feels, I know you said Hamilton has been in the open all this time, but I don't think they would have made a change if they felt like they didn't need to inch just even a little bit closer.
Correct. And they did this year
to having the throne, and we're what are we 12 years away from their last championship?
Yeah, the Huskies have not, since I've been covering football, Hamilton has not won a championship.
It's Brett's fault. It's Brett's fault.
We'll move over to the ACP Knights, and I've said it every week for the last seemingly 8 weeks. They continue to dominate. 59-21 over a very physical Snowflake Lobos team. ACP reaching the championship game. That sounds so cool to say, Ralph, and so cool for you to see that win.
Yeah, it was a really great to be able to be there in person. Interesting parking lot you guys got over there. People parked up on the sidewalk and the street. And Snowflake's a very good team, And for a long time, they were number one in the AIA rankings. They were undefeated for a reason. The whole community was out, and it was very interesting to see 42 total points scored in the first quarter. And that Snowflake crowd, which is one of the best crowds in all of Arizona.
Was it 42 in the quarter?
42
I didn't even
in
realize
the
it was
first
that high
quarter.
Scoring. Okay, wow.
Yeah, I think it was 28-14 at the end of one.
Okay.
And in that second half for ACP to come out and dominate the way they did, just a very impressive performance by Coach Vaught. Your guy Pena with picked up a punt and ran it in for a touchdown. It was really cool to see that in person after you had him on last week's show.
So Pena doing it.
Yeah, and
Max Sasso broke off for 127. Him in person.
He looked very, very hard to tackle. And that Snowflake quarterback, he's really good at running around the edge and a lot of disciplined tackling from this ACP defense. They are so well coached. They,
Solomon's been doing it for a while.
Yeah, he has, and Coach Vaught did say that they've had 40 different players start this year. Some from necessity, and some people earned it in practice. And so, which means he's fostered a spirit of competition there, where everybody feels like they have a chance to contribute. And what is it? The Torrey Lavelle used to say, "Connected team's a dangerous team."
That's true.
When everybody feels like they're connected, they might not be connected to each other. You never know. But if they're connected to the process of winning, then you get results like you got a blowout over an undefeated team to move on to your first 4A championship.
And speaking of an undefeated team, wow, the Micah Mountain Thunderbolts, they are next. 10-0. Got to speak with Pat Nugent earlier this week. We, of course, ran into him at Media Day. 10-0. That's tough. I mean, it's certainly a challenge, but we know another 9-1 team that defeated a Tucson area team, Hamilton. They were 9-1. Marana was 10-0, and we're certainly hoping that this 9-1 team, the ACP Knights, are able to take down Micah Mountain. That game will be Friday, 4 o'clock at Mountain America Stadium. Purple Rain, yes, wearing the purple shirt for a good reason, and the coaching staff that the ACP Knights have really put together. Great. You mentioned Coach Vaught. It's a good time. ACP is doing what they need to do, and it wasn't that long ago that ACP was playing over at Anderson Junior High School, and I think the coaching staff, especially Coach Vaught, would really say, hey, thank you, Coach Myron Bluford, for laying the blueprint for what's going to happen on Friday night. So it'll be good stuff. We're certainly
missed the opportunity to say Bluford print there.
Oh,
come on, man! It's right there for you.
And the last but not least standing team, the Basha Bears. Wow, they are back in the state championship after a 40-35 win over the ALA Queen Creek Patriots. I'll say, and Ralph, you and I have talked about this a lot. They're usually at the back end of the podcast, and in this case, they are the last team of the podcast. Not much more to say about this team than what's already been said than what's already printed. They've got speed. They've got power. I mean, you got a good look at Sammy Garcia at the media day.
Yeah, big
the
kid.
young man's
huge. My goodness, he's going to go as far as he wants to, as far as he puts his mind to. If he's ready academically, he's certainly ready athletically. He's going to be pushing people around for a long time.
Coach McDonald has put together a really good team. I mean, Brody Bears and something that, again, you guys have heard us talk about the Bears all year long. There's only one Demond Williams, and we know what he's doing at University of Washington. But honestly, the QB1 spot did not drop off, and that was one of the big concerns. All right, you lose Demond Williams, 4-year starter. What's going to happen? Who's going to be quarterback? Brody Bears has stepped in. He's found Gio Richardson. He knows how to use Noah Roberts in the backfield. It's just a really it meshes very well. Blue Dantzler on the defensive line. This is
Game-winning sack.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Game-winning sack. Yeah.
This is a good team, and we talked about Liberty earlier. I mean, they're going to have their hands full. Hayden Fletcher, Dominic Lombardo, quarterback, running back, respectively. Braxton Wynn, receiver for the Liberty Lions.
They still got Hudson Dunn out there.
Hudson Dunn is out there wearing number 7. Yeah,
Yikes.
it's this has the makings of a classic. I really hope it is a good game. I mean, it's these two teams, they know Mountain America Stadium very well. Yes, we said that Liberty is the defending champ. We know who won in 2022 in a very classic game, and that is the Bears. And they've got some of those guys who are saying to themselves, we're back. And I think they are going to, I'd like to see them hoist that ball at the end, but I think we all know they've got their work cut out for them.
And what's nice is it really does feel like we're going to have a deserving Open champion.
Yes.
It might feel like we're critical of the Open, maybe aspects of it, and I know that changes are coming, and I think there are going to be some good changes, and so really encouraged by that. But at the end of the day, I feel like we got the two best teams, the teams that we were arguing who's number 1 and number 2 all year, and the teams that people have been clamoring for to face off in the Open for at least the last 3 seasons.
Correct.
And so what a really cool opportunity to come out to Mountain America Stadium, see some of the kids that have been working for 4 years to get to this point, and who might come back and play in Mountain America Stadium, whether on Arizona State or for another team. You know, for some of these guys, their football career continues. I'm actually going to be watching the Arizona State game against Iowa State with Navi Brazone's dad on that morning before going out to cover the high school game.
Yeah.
And I spent the day talking to his dad at last year when they won the Open Championship against Centennial. So building a little bit of a tradition out there, and I just we love these teams. We love these kids. Obviously, on C-Town Rivals podcast, we're very Chandler focused, but
Sure,
Liberty is incredibly deserving, and you want to test yourself against the best, and that's what Basha is going to have an opportunity to do.
And Colin Thomas, the head coach of Liberty, he has done such a good job. I mean, he's built within. He really focuses on the kids. He gives the testament to the kids. He's like, hey, you need to be hardworking to play in this program. And the kids have bought into his philosophy.
Yeah.
The results certainly have shown, that's for sure. So I like what they're doing over there. And I mean, these two teams couldn't be more further apart. You're talking Southeast Chandler out to Peoria. So we love those East-West battles, and what a place at Mountain America Stadium. Let them meet in the middle. Show out, folks. Definitely, regardless of who you're rooting for. And hopefully, if you're watching this podcast, you're more of a Hunter Green and Gold fan than anything else. But hey, regardless, come out. Try to fill the stadium as much as you can. It's probably not going to be filled for a high school game. It's not Texas yet.
Right.
But this is how you build it. You get
Yes.
two great teams, and the fans have to come out. East, West, Central. Enjoy yourselves. It's going to be a really full weekend. And wow, yes, the podcast, they get shorter as the season goes on. We had 3 teams to talk about. Next week, we will only have 2. Hopefully, it's 2 winners. That's how many people are doing this podcast these days. We'll see you guys next week. He's Ralph. I'm Brett. This is the C-Town Rivals Podcast.